excited for it.
I agree.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a new day. I am your host, Priscilla Mah-Belloh, broadcasting on Focus on Liberia. A new day is a space for courageous conversations about social justice, healing, leadership, culture, and the issues shaping our communities and our world. Here we challenge harmful norms, confront inequality, and promote a culture of dignity, respect, compassion, and accountability. We believe that meaningful change is possible when people are willing to listen, to learn, and engage honestly with the realities facing individuals and communities, especially those too often unheard or overlooked, like the population we're going to be talking about today, those that the situation that our guest is going to be talking about affect mainly youth at risk in Liberia. Our vision is a world where justice, gender equality, human rights, and human dignity are not privileges for the few, for a few, but realities for everyone. So it's a call toward awareness, healing, transformation, and a new day. Note, this discussion is an investigative and analytical conversation rather than beginning. Yeah, it is an investigative and analytical conversation. So our guest is going to present us uh, with what she's, know about the situation. And I hope we all can participate and look into the issue here being discussed and concerns being raised. So welcome to a new day again, Fanta. Our guest is Fanta Kamara. For those of us who didn't see her last week, I assume that we all know Fanta. But for some of us who are regular to the platform, Fanta shouldn't be a stranger anymore. But I will just let her introduce herself. She is Miss Fanta Kamara. She's a geopolitical analyst.
Wow, thank you so much, Priscilla. Yeah, like Fanta Kamara works. Fanta Kamara works. I, at the heart and core of everything I am a Liberian girl who is deeply in love with Liberia, um, and do everything I can in my capacity to constantly lend my voice to the voiceless and really try to remove the smoke from the narrative, right? What is often perpetrated in the media and try to get to the crux. So I'm usually the one looking under the bed and the mattress and then tearing it apart to figure out like what's really in there. Um, because as we know, people have a lot of people have different motives, and so when they disseminate information, they often leave out the ones that truly impact the public. And I find that area quite intriguing. So I go with my Inspector Gadget, trying to uncover what they often leave out, because I truly believe the more our people are enlightened, the more they are educated, the more they are knowledgeable about these things, the better decisions they're able to make for themselves and empower themselves.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Yeah, just they will find out for themselves. I don't want to be blowing any more harm, but let the audience make their own judgment. So the question um, we're asking is Liberia a narco state? First, tell us what is a narco state?
Yeah, simply put, a narco state is a state that has been captured by narco activities or cartels and networks. A narco state is a state that has narco activities or narco money heavily influencing its economy and its politics, its governance. So every sphere, think about every sphere of governance or the country, narco influences it. And based on the evidence that I've gathered and the deep research I've conducted, I will love the audience to join us on this journey, and hopefully by the end of it, we all can answer this question. But I think it's quite overwhelming. It is quite damning, and I know what my conclusion is, and I truly believe that we are a narco state. I believe Liberia is a narco state. Liberia has been captured by various networks, and it's interesting because they don't act in a unicorn, right? Like they don't act as a unicorn. They work with enablers, and these enablers are people on the ground, are people in the government, are people in the legislative, are people in the executive, are people at the airport, are people at the border, are people at the seaport, are people in West Point, are people in Garnersville, are people in Cinco, are people in Cape Mount, are people in Bapalo, are people in all spheres and all areas of Liberia. And so you will understand, hopefully by the end of this, why I've come to that conclusion. But I want you and the audience to come to their own conclusion based on the evidence that I'm going to provide. Because I think we where we currently are and how we're disseminating information is truly a disservice to the people. We're pretending as if to say this recent drug bust of $19 million is so wild. It's so above our heads. And this is so foreign to Liberia. My gosh, how could this happen? But I think the audience will be really, really shocked to realize that this is not new, and it's been happening for many, many, many years in much larger amount than was uncovered recently.
Okay, all right. So Fanta, is Liberia truly a narco state, or are we witnessing a country struggling to prevent one from emerging? Like again, what evidence will convince you that Liberia has crossed the line?
Yeah.
From why do major drug seizures why are they happening? Does this if they are happening as you say occurring or keep occurring? Why? I mean, does this prove that our security agencies are effective, or does it just suggest that traffickers feel comfortable operating there, or is it that the country is just struggling to prevent, or we're just witnessing a country that is struggling with its security system when it comes to stopping drug flow?
Yeah, I just want to make very clear that Liberia is, in terms of land mass, Liberia is one of the smallest countries in the world. Liberia is also blessed with miles, hundreds of miles of ocean front on the Atlantic. Liberia, as beautiful and gorgeous as she is often abused by the people she entrusts the most to care for her. And that has resulted in a gross violation of a country, of its people, of its nature in a way that should never happen. Can we compare Liberia? I think with the evidence I have gathered, we can comfortably say that Liberia is becoming a Mexico. Liberia is becoming a Guinea-Bissau, because Guinea-Bissau is officially Africa's first narco state. And all of the semblance, all of the indicators are there. What I'm going to be presenting is quite extensive and is backed up by sources from the UN, sources from the US State Department, sources from Homeland Security, sources from Custom and Border Patrol, sources from LDEA, sources from DEA, the US DEA, sources from the French Navy, sources from other joint security operations. And so when you come upon all of these and you're able to compile them, the picture that it paints, the picture that arrives at the end of it, is quite shattering. So for those, and that's why I asked the question, right? Is Liberia a narco state? Because all the indicators are there. The activities are so engrossed, they are influencing our economy. And so, what is stopping us from truly facing, looking at ourselves in the mirror to then be empowered to truly start doing the work that is required to rid ourselves of this bad habit? Let's just call it that, right? Of this bad habit. I want to start by hopefully playing two videos. I think that are
So,
so important.
yeah, okay, because I was going to ask, so I hear you, I honestly do, and I'm sure the audience is, but I was just wondering, are those the but what, just go ahead and play the videos, because I'm just thinking, Fatu, that is it a country with drug problem? Is it just a country that is a trafficking transit? Uh,
Both,
but
both.
or have we really crossed the line? Or is it just a country, in a danger zone approaching it? What the evidence will a person need before confidently calling Liberia a narco state?
Yeah. So,
So are we dealing with isolated criminal actors,
no,
or is it something
it's
more
a network. So nothing is isolated. Nothing is a unicorn. Nothing is foreign. Nothing is new. In fact, is very comfortable. And the normal the a contrary opinion would say that a narco state is a state that is captured, right? So state capture determines like a narco state. Are we fully captured? Like, are we fully ran by cartels? I truly believe so. Again, I'm going to leave this open for your audience to determine after the evidence that we present, because this is about all of us. This is not about Fanta Kamara. I don't want to make this about me. It's about all of us. Each and every Liberian have to understand, have to believe their eyes, right? Believe your eyes instead of what they're telling you. Trust your own eyes to see for yourself and then come to the determination. Because it's really important for us to arrive at that individually. That is how we can feel empowered to truly contribute to this discourse in an informed way. Not just, oh, what this person says, what Fanta. No, don't take what Fanta says. Take the information that I share with you, verify it for yourself, and then come to your conclusion. I have arrived at my conclusion based on the research I have done. And we can and what I did, right, was look at Liberia's trafficking and usage activities post-war. So
As
I try to look at the last 20, 25 years,
okay,
right?
okay. So
And
let's look at that. Let's look at the
yeah,
timeline. Let's look at. I was looking at the timeline from 2001 to 2026. Like, what patterns stand out to you,
absolutely.
or
So
why does and then why does Liberia continue to? Yeah, but
yeah,
I don't know your timeline. You say is back to before the war.
no.
So let's look at the timeline that you
It's
started with.
post-war. It's post-war, so it's
Okay.
after war. But something is
Oh, okay.
very, yeah, something
Okay.
is very important because there are two components here. There's trafficking, there's state capture, and then there's abuse, right? So three components: trafficking, state capture, and abuse. State capture is where you have the enablers that are influenced by narco and narco economy, right? The abuse is where you have the citizens abusing, that is quite explicit, and then the trafficking is where you have the movement of illicit drugs through the country as a transit point, right? So the first thing we have to understand is that let's look at the abuse. The UN put Liberia numbers and other international reports put Liberia usage numbers, a country of 5 million people, about 1.5 plus, nearly 2 million Liberians abuse drugs. A country of 5 million, nearly 2 million. I hope you heard that number right. Look this up, please. Abuse drug. I believe not too long ago, Ibi Kurma, like even mentioned like a number of like 1.5 million youth. 1.5 million youth were addicted or abused drugs. The UN did a study in 2012. What they uncovered was 9% of high school students in Liberia were using drugs. That was 2012. We're in 2026. What is that? 14 years later? My math is terrible. But you who are mathematicians, do the math, right? 9% in 2012 when there was a lot of activities, but there's been an increase in activities. So multiply 2012, right, to 2026. That number among the youth, especially high school students, it's probably in its 20, 30 upwards percentage. So let's understand that that's the impact, that's the human impact in terms of usage, right? And you have hundreds of thousands of ex-combatants who came into the war as children. In order for them to be utilized in the way that these call them soldiers, call them whomever, like you want to call them, generals, wanted to utilize them to commit these atrocious crimes, they had to numb or be given something to numb their pain or numb their psyche, right? Or numb their trauma. So what did they do? They give them drugs. The two videos I want to play, I have them in your background.
So,
and these are clips from DW, an international news agency who came to Liberia to do this documentary. If you have the chance, go out there and actually watch the full documentary. It's about 28 minutes long, so you can definitely do that. But I took two clips out.
Before we go to the video, I sent you a message, if you can look at it. While we move on, we can come back to that, but I really have some question mark to cover.
Okay.
Yeah. Why does so?
Sure.
Can
I talk about the video, like, since we can't play?
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, they're quite graphic, and I understand completely. They're quite graphic in their nature. The first one gives you an insight. It starts off by saying, like, 1989. It gives you an insight into these young children, like young children, your sons, your daughters. You see the faces of your sons and your daughters in these children. They're holding ammunitions or guns or weapons that are bigger than most often bigger than them. They are committing atrocious crimes. You can tell they are so hooked on drugs. They are so high, right? Let's just put it that way. And they had to get them there to be able to engage in the level of atrocities they were able to engage in. In fact, in the documentary, there is a part where you have this ex-combatant who is struggling so much, where he's in his 30s. He got married in his 30s, had 3 children, and could not afford to still rid himself of the trauma. And in the end, he ended up committing suicide. I just put it that way. In the second video covers, I think his general name was General Butt Naked, who is now I think a reverend. He speaks about how drug came into Liberia. He speaks about how he used to get the drugs. And this is very important because, and he explains this. It's not Fanta saying, he explains this in the video. He says, we used to take minerals, so gold and diamond, and go on the ocean and meet the Mexican cartels and trade gold and diamonds for drugs. Because that's how, he said, he had up to 20,000 soldiers in his platoon, most of which were child soldiers, to get them to commit these atrocities, right? In fact, they will do these rituals where this is very graphic. So please, for those who, I just want to put a warning out there for those who this might bother, but it's very important because this is about understanding how we got to this place. So bear with me, please. He talks about before every fight, they will sacrifice a child, an innocent child, where they had to cut the heart. They will take the heart out of the innocent child. He will cut it into pieces. This is his words. Go and watch the documentary. This is international documentary. You only have to YouTube it. He said they will cut the heart of the innocent child, and every other child would have to eat it.
Oh,
every other child would have to eat it. Imagine what it's going to take another child to consume, to first of all see a child being brutally murdered, and then their hearts cut, their heart extracted, being cut into pieces, and then consumed before any fight. They could only do that when they were high, when they were on drugs. So we have to understand, a lot of these people we refer to today as Zogos, a lot of them were ex-combatants. This is what they went through. This is the reality that we often try to sweep under the rug of the drug epidemic that is in Liberia. And then you have the infiltration of hard cocaine. He says this. It wasn't just marijuana, cocaine and heroin. He traded with the Mexicans, gold and diamonds in exchange for those drugs. This is his words. So in understanding that, you see a timeline that the generation that we have today, a lot of the Liberians we have, the youth that we have today, most of which are living in graveyards. When I talk about living in graveyards, not just like living in between the graves, no, they go and bust the graves open. I mean, we've all seen this, it's not strange. They go and bust the graves open. They take out the bodies from there. Another drug that is being proliferated is Kush, that's coming out of Sierra Leone. And what these drug abusers do, they grind the bones of the dead bodies they find in those respective graves and mix it with the Kush. It becomes extremely addictive. We have to speak about these things because this is our reality. We cannot shy away from it and expect to magically resolve this drug problem that is so systemic.
Can I ask you, is Kush I'm sorry. Is Kush a public health crisis,
Absolutely.
a criminal justice crisis, or a national security crisis?
It's all of it. It's a national security crisis. It's a public health crisis, and it's a criminal justice crisis. How is it that we have, and most of the Kush that is being used on the Liberian market today comes from Sierra Leone. Okay, it comes from Sierra Leone. How is it that our neighbors are able to import, right? And it takes two. It's not just the Sierra Leoneans. You have Sierra Leoneans and Liberia enablers. It's a partnership. It's a collaboration that we have poisoned. We have poisoned our youth. And it made me think, as I was going through this research, it made me think, is this intentional? Are we intentionally poisoning an entire generation so that they can remain completely useless and out of the discourse of their nation? So that they don't participate. They're not sane enough. They're not awake enough to participate and be active citizens in the affairs of their nation. Is it intentional? Once again, you be the judge after I go through the timeline.
So Fanta, looking at your timeline, why does Liberia continue to how do you think traffickers have identified Liberia as a strategic gateway into West Africa, or what changed after the Civil War that may have created vulnerabilities like this?
So weak borders, complacent individuals and government officials willing to sell their country for peanuts, very weak security apparatus, or should I say complacent security apparatus, right? Because
is that the case, or do you think big institutions attract traffickers, or do traffickers actively work to weaken the institution? Which one do you think happened?
Well, it goes hand in hand, but I want you to understand something. What I'm relating is a documented report conducted, put together by the U.S. State Department, put together by the UN, put together by other international agencies and partners of Liberia, who have conducted these studies in Liberia and have determined that due to the high level of corrupt officials we have in Liberia, due to weak borders, due to weak security systems, right? Due to they call it Liberia porous borders, This is why Liberia has a drug epidemic. This is not Fanta Kamara saying. I just did the research. And once again, it is report from the State Department and other international agencies, including the US.
And I got that. I was just asking whether the weak institutions attracted traffickers, or do you think traffickers actively work to weaken our institutions?
so
And
it's
I get it.
so
Uh-huh.
it's both. It's
Okay.
both, right?
Okay.
Of course, look, when somebody wants to commit a crime and you leave your door open, it's easier for me. Why go to fight myself and break down the next your neighbor's door when yours is already open? I can walk through and say, "Hey, mommy, I yell like, what's going on? I got something for you." Right? This is what's happening. Something else you mentioned that I want to touch on.
Yeah, go
Liberia
ahead.
is very attractive geographically. It is well situated on the Atlantic, and
Okay.
so it makes it very easy for it to be used
A
as a
strategic gateway into
yes,
West
yes,
Africa.
not just West Africa, Europe and the West. I mean, think
Oh,
about it.
really?
It's a 7 hour flight from
Tell me
Liberia to.
more.
It's a 7 hour flight from Liberia to New York. It's a 6 hour flight from
Okay.
Liberia to Brussels,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
And
I
direct,
never thought of it like that.
yeah,
Okay.
direct flight from
Okay.
Liberia to New York, Liberia to Brussels. And again,
Hmm.
this is why this timeline was so important, because you had Liberia had at one point direct flights into the US, direct flights into, I mean, today we have direct flights into Europe, right? Brussels Airlines, right? Direct. Look, you have to understand something.
You know what?
Traffickers in the
You
network.
answer, mhm.
Mhm.
You answer my next question with what you just shared, because I was going to ask, why is the airport becoming a focal point? Like, because several recent cases involve our international airport, according to what you share.
Yeah.
Uh, but so I never really thought of that, like, be where, is that strategic because of, the flight going like 6 hours
Yeah.
to Brazil, 7 hours to New York.
Yeah.
Who
I
but
mean,
can large quantities of how they say,
illicit drugs.
drugs move through an airport even without assistance from insiders?
No, no, no.
Wow.
And it's a very tiny, like, let's just say tiny percentage, right? Maybe someone drops off a bag and it's the one bag that gets that makes
Yes.
its way through, right? But
Yes.
9 out of 10 times
Yeah.
it's a partnership. It takes collaboration. It's an entire coordinated, cohesive system. I'm telling you, it is not a unicorn or no. The cargo systems, right? The airlines.
Or maybe is corruption becoming more sophisticated than before in Liberia? Like, what should Liberians make of allegations involving airport personnel and
there
security
is
officials?
there is corruption everywhere. There is corruption everywhere. Liberia is not unique, or corruption is not unique to Liberia. I did a paper, I wrote a paper not too long ago called Corruption as a Service, indicating that or suggesting that the type of corruption that Liberia practices, it makes corruption itself blush. It makes corruption itself be like, my man, it's what you do. No, I can't even reach that level. Like,
So,
like, be like, damn, my man, like, even
so
for
what?
$10, you will sell your mom? Like, come on, right? What other countries that will settle for millions of dollars? Maybe they'll think about it. You want my own mom, maybe millions of dollars. But like, girl, like $10.
Fanta, someone said something recently. They say corruption is so expensive. Even in America, it's only for the rich people, the wealthy
Yeah.
people.
Mhm.
But in places like where we come from, it's so
Cheap.
accessible
It's
to
so cheap.
everyone.
It's so cheap. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, you're
No,
like,
you
damn,
call it accessibility.
my
I mean,
man. I'm telling
accessibility
you. I'm
and
look,
equality.
yeah, yeah, the issue
Yeah, so what I mean,
with
Liberians, what should y'all make of allegations um involving airport personnel and security officials? And we're having this conversation, even though Fanta is the guest in the studio, but I really wanted to be an interactive, conversation, like she said at the beginning. Please, just contribute, make comments, ask your questions, or correct Fanta in here if something she's saying you have a counter, you have an alternative, you have whatever it is that she or I'm not aware of. Let's just create awareness about this
Educate me,
issue.
right?
So should we be more worried about the drug themselves or about the possibility that critical security institutions are being compromised? That's something for us to think about.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fanta. I just wanted to keep, inviting the audience
Yeah.
uh, that this is not all you coming to say this is the information. We're all following what's going on.
Mhm.
So, yeah, please just make input. What do you think? Should we be more worried about the drug themselves or about the possibility that, critical security institutions are being compromised?
Yeah. It is systemic. It is systemic, and I really want us to get into like the timeline here.
Oh,
Just
go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry. I keep
yeah.
you.
No, no,
Go ahead.
no. You're absolutely fine. But I want the audience to understand something, that let's not be let's not be ones who are easily swayed and we just follow the wind. Oh, today is Monday, it's blowing right, or we're going right. It's Tuesday, where it's going left, or we're going left. No, take accountability for the state of your affairs. You are just as accountable for the welfare of Liberia as the people you elect. As the people you elect. So do not feel as if to say you have no power or you're powerless. It is only when you are awakened, when you are informed, you are empowered, then to contribute in a meaningful way to make your voices heard. Look, we
And
can
Fanta,
only. Mhm.
please, if you can do the timeline quick, then because I have so much for us to cover. I need you to
Sure.
touch on the maritime corridor. I will need you to go a little more into governance, and I will need you to go into the Kush crisis. You say it's a public health issue. You say it's a law enforcement issue. You say it's a national
Mhm.
issue. I will need you to touch on the public health part, and then I also need you to compare Liberia with Guinea-Bissau. I have so many different sessions. So let's do the timeline so we can move on to the next place that need us to talk about.
Yeah, so I have it in your studio there. If you want to pop it on the.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, you have it where? Do I know even how to do that?
I struggle with that too, but it's the
Is
one.
it this one?
Yes, let's start with that one. Fantastic. See, you did that.
Got it. Okay, go ahead.
So this is a timeline that I pulled together because, as I said, I just happen to be this very nosy person, and just cannot stand like when information is being disseminated, what I feel it was in a very irresponsible way, or is being disseminated in an irresponsible way, because it doesn't allow the people to truly understand the breadth of what's happening and allow them to make the level of decisions that needs to be made for themselves. And what I try to do here was a deep dive in a reconstruction of Liberia's narcotic history from 2001 to 2026, right? And it reveals how South Americans cartel transformed the country from a region of minor local cannabis cultivation, which is, so as you would know, marijuana is also being grown in Liberia. People grow marijuana and cannabis in Liberia, right? But it's interesting because in this timeline, you will find how South American cartels transform Liberia from just a local marijuana producer into a high stake multi-million dollar maritime and aerial transshipment highway. Let's get into the first one, right? The first one here is '06. And I'm sure there is more, but this is what I could verify. The first one here is like '06. The amount is unspecified, right? But this was, and so let me just guide the audience. So I have the date, And then you have the bus quantity and the narcotic type. I have the estimated market value. I have the primary entry point and interception point. I have the transportation mechanism, the country of origin and final destination, accused parties and nationality, Liberian enablers and external law partners. I have the Liberian president. So it's really important to capture who was the leader at that time when these busts happened. And then what we have here are verifiable international sources. So all of these links are clickable. Number one, May of 2006, an unverified or unspecified commercial batch was intercepted. The primary entry point was the Ganda border in Nimba County. So this was land, and they used commercial vehicles. The origin of those drugs came from Guinea, so they were regional. And the destination was Monrovia, the dens of Monrovia. And I covered it the last time. There are nearly 1,000 dens, 1,000 drug dens, 1,000 drug hoods, drug areas, drug communities, whatever like you want to call it, but almost 1,000 in Monrovia alone. Okay, who were the accused parties? So the accused parties and their nationality were both Liberians and Guineans. So it came from Guinea and making their way into Liberia. So they had Liberian counterparts. Who did this bust, right? So this was during like the early UNMIL time. So it was the UN monitoring units. And then, of course, you had localized border security who were bribed. Again, when I talk about enablers, it takes two, right? Like it's a yin and a yang. You had the trafficker and then you have enablers. In this case, it was the immigration border security folks who were bribed to bring this in. Who was the president at the time? Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And this is, again, verified in this UNMIL Human Rights Archive report. You can look it up for yourself. February of 2008, 1.2 tons of cocaine worth more than $500 million. More than $500 million. More than $500 million. So when we talk about $19 million is a distraction. More than $500 million worth of cocaine came into Liberia. This was via the seaport. This was coming from South America and destined for Europe. The accused parties here was the Blue Atlantic ship, which had 9 Ghanaians aboard. This was intercepted by the French Navy and the Joint Security Organization called MOAC. Again, Ellen was the president at this time. The source of this bus, you can find it in AP, you can find it in Reuters, you can find it in CBC News. May 2010. 4,000 kilograms of high-grade cocaine was intercepted. More than $100 million value, right? More than $100 million value. This was in the entry point was the port of Monrovia. It came in air corridors, right, of the containers. This was a multi-engine cargo aircraft and maritime container vessel, right? This came from Colombia and Venezuela, or it came from Colombia via Venezuela. The destination was Western Europe and the US. So when you talk about like, is it coming in just for Liberia, or is coming in, they're using Liberia as a transit point for Europe and the US. And keep in mind, oftentimes they pay the local enabler. So the airport people, the seaport people, the LNP, the this, the that, they pay them in drugs. So some of those drugs do stay in Liberia, even though most of it are headed for the Western world. So the accused parties was Chigbo Peter Ume, a Nigerian, Konstantin Yurishenko, who was a Russian, Gabriela Kamara, who was a Sierra Leonean, right? So, and this was this bust happened because there was a special mission orchestrated by the USDA. The USDA. So they had this thing called Operation Relentless, and apparently the enablers. Or the people that targeted was Famba Salif, who I believe was the NSA or one of the security directors at the time. That targeted him. Apparently, he reached out to the DEA and was like, "This is happening. What have you? What have you?" They recruited him as an insider, and so when they came to make this deal happen, they got arrested. Who was the president at the time? Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Again, this is in the U.S. Department of Justice, the DOJ report. there is a file that I shared with you that has the case file. So the entire case file, what happened, how it happened, when it happened. But know that this happened in 2010 and it was worth more than $100 million. I want to read something very quickly for you here from the Guardian newspaper. And this reads like a crime movie, like a narco movie on Netflix, right? This is how the Guardian reported it. Just bear with me. It says The Sting, an American drug bust in West Africa. And it has the picture of the cocaines. It says undercover agents. The DEA spent 4 years trying to bring down a cocaine trafficking gang in Liberia. Was the operation a triumph in the global war on drugs or a case of American overreach? Now, hear this. On a sultry May afternoon in 2009, a car stopped at the end of a dirt road in the Liberian capital of Monrovia. Guards toting Kalashnikov rifles opened the gate to a large house, and the vehicle rolled into the driveway, setting off a chorus of barking by a wide group of Métis caged inside the compound. A muscular Nigerian, Chigbo Ume, stepped out of the car with 2 Colombians, both members of a drug cartel. The 3 were led into an elegant, decorated living room where one of the most powerful figures in the Liberian government was waiting. Their host was Fumba Sirleaf, the stepson of Liberia's president and director of the country's national security agency. After Sirleaf had greeted the visitors, the men sat down to talk. Chigbo, dressed in jeans and a t-shirt that showed off his biceps, opened the conversation with a line that summed up his worldview. And I quote,
So,
in
can
this
I
line,
ask?
yeah.
Can I ask? Who are you reading?
This is the Guardian. This is the Guardian newspaper.
Oh, okay, the Guardian.
This is the Guardian. And I'm reading verbatim. So let me just finish this paragraph. So it says, the host was Fumba Sirleaf, the stepson of Liberia's president and director of the country's national security agency. After Sirleaf had greeted the visitors, the men sat down to talk. Chigbo, dressed in jeans and a t-shirt that showed off his biceps, opened the conversation with a line that summed up his worldview. In this life, he says, smiling, you have to make some money. He then spelled out the cartel's proposition. It would pay Sirleaf handsomely in exchange for his help in using Liberia as a transit hub for smuggling cocaine from Colombia into Europe. The traffickers will bring the cocaine into the West African country by air and sea. From there, they would move it to cities across Western Europe where the drugs fetches for as much as 34,000 euros per kilogram. Sirleaf assured them of his cooperation before sitting back and letting his representative, who called himself Nabil Haj, take over. Haj, a balding man of Mediterranean descent, laid out the terms of the deal, fiddling with a pack of Marlboro smokes. Sirleaf men would take care of security arrangement at the airport and at ports. For bringing in a ton of cocaine, the traffickers would have to pay $1 million up front and provide 50 kg of cocaine that Hyde said would be smuggled to the United States. He was very insistent on this final point. The article goes on. It has all of the details in there, so feel free to go and read it. I wanted to read that because it is so important to understand the extent of this. Now, as I said, Sirleaf, the actual case file in New York will actually go on like to say Sirleaf became an informant for the USDA.
So, Fanta, can you share the link to that article, please?
Yeah, I actually have the whole file I sent to you.
Okay, you sent it to me.
Yeah, I sent you everything. You have everything, absolutely. But here's the link.
Yeah, you sent it to me right before we came on. That's why I didn't have the time.
No, it's okay. Here is the link. I just sent it to you again.
Yeah, I just saw it. All right.
So if you want, I can continue just down.
Go ahead.
Oh, let's put the timeline back up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it takes some patience.
Where is it? Hey, I didn't mess it up again.
It's the one with the yellow bar.
No, stop it. Stop it.
There you go. Right. So that was in '09.
You got it?
Yes, I have it. Thank you. In September of 2012, logistical infrastructure ring. So again, let's put it back. Let's make it bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm making it big.
Thank you. Yeah, September 2012, logistical infrastructure ring, right, where methamphetamine and a cocaine pipeline was discovered. This conversation was intercepted in a Monrovia Central hotel room. It was a sting where people were arrested. Excuse me. This was a transnational maritime network. Hopefully, most of the questions you have are going to be answered after I get done with this list. The origin of the drugs was South America. They were headed for West Africa, South America and West Africa. The destination was Japan and the U.S. The accused party and the nationality was a guy called Paul Calder Leroux. I even sent to you like a photo of his passport. You have all of that. This was a transnational crime mastermind. That's what they refer to him as. His nationality, South African, Australian nationality, right? This was a joint effort by the LDEA, so Liberia DEA and the US DEA, both working together. They had enablers, so local criminal fixers who were on the ground providing counterfeit diplomatic credentials, counterfeit diplomatic passports and credentials. So when I say this is systemic, it is very systemic. Who was the president then? Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. This report is reported by the U.S. Embassy in Liberia. This is an official communique. I sent you that document as well. I sent you the screenshot from the U.S. Embassy website. This is still out there today. November 2013. There's a way to move me, or you can just take me off the screen, and then let's just keep like the 654 pounds of marijuana, right? The point of entry was the Sierra Leone border. This was by road. The origin was Guinea, Sierra Leone, and it was making its way into Liberia. Who was the accused party? Perry Dolo. Perry Dolo, as we all know, was the head of the president motorcade, right? Who was the president? Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. This is reported by BBC. Again, you have that photo, you have that document. Anyone can look this up, public information. In 2014 and 2015, there were two busts, which here are aggregated. 18.8 metric tons of marijuana, 21.3 kg of cocaine, 8.1 kg of heroin, a multi-million aggregate in terms of value. This was busted through the RIA and the port of Monrovia. This was both air freight and so in suitcases and in seaport. The origin was East Africa, right? The heroin came from East Africa. The cocaine came from Brazil. The marijuana was regional, so it came from local. The destination was local use, and to empower or to fit European mules. What mules are referred to as are people who are traffickers of drugs. So if you watch documentaries, I am a documentary crime fiend, you will see some of them have to swallow the drugs, some of them have to tie it on their stomach, some of them have to like blast it like to that bat, whatever they do. They are referred to as mules. That's how they were busted. And one of the mules was a Ugandan female. So you're talking like not just continental, like not just global, but continental as well, right? A Ugandan female. Then you had two Nigerians as well. This was a bust by the U.S. State Department, Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement, INL. Okay, you had local enablers as well, who were low-tier custom officials. Ellen Johnson was the president at the time. This is a report from the U.S. Department of State Bureau of INL Strategy Report. So, not from the Kamara, go look up the report. It's there. As of today, it's still there. So you can go look it up. June of 2019, 17.1 ton of cocaine worth $1.3 billion. $1.3 billion. Okay. This was busted in Philadelphia. This was by sea. This is very important. The origin of this was Colombia. The destination was Nigeria, South Africa, Lebanon, India, Haiti, and Ireland. This was busted on the ship called MSC Guyane, a 1030-foot Liberian flag container ship. That's why this is important, because the other component of this is maritime. What is our maritime agency doing in another country? How is it that all these ships are flying Liberian flags that are supposed to be abiding by Liberian laws, but they are being busted for illicit drugs? So what is the involvement of our Liberian Maritime Agency in ensuring that the flags, that the ships that fly Liberian flags are not trafficking or transiting drugs? The U.S., this was busted by the U.S. State Department, by the Homeland Security, right? Homeland Security, Custom and Border Patrol. This was under the George Weah administration. The report is in Custom and Border Patrol and Homeland Security, and the Homeland Security. So that report is also out there. That is another component of this that nobody else is even diving into.
Okay.
Liberian flags.
I will have to come in.
Sure.
Just because I want to address something. So Liberia has one of the largest shipping registries in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Does a repeated appearance of Liberian flag vessel in international drug seizures indicate state involvement? Because I think there is a misconception. So what misconception do people have about Liberian Maritime Registry? Are traffickers exploiting Liberia's reputation for international shipping? Again, remember, Liberia has one of the largest shipping registries in the world, which doesn't necessarily mean that when a vessel is flying Liberia flag, it means that our country government is involved.
Okay. Yeah, that is a very good point. Thank you so much for bringing that point up.
Yeah.
So think about it.
It could mean that companies from anywhere in the world can register their ships in Liberia, even if the ship owner is not Liberian, if the crew is not Liberian, if the cargo is not Liberian, and the ship never visits Liberia.
Of course. Absolutely. Yeah. You're absolutely correct. That is a fantastic point. And I'm glad
it's not only for you. I just wanted to put it out there for the audience, because in return, the owner pays registration fees and complies with registry requirements. But one thing I raise is that how do we ensure that they comply with our registry requirements? So as a result, Liberia has one of the largest ship registry in the world, alongside Panama and Marshall Islands.
Yeah.
But do we ensure? Go ahead, Fanta.
Yeah, so that's a very fantastic point. I just want us to spend just a couple more minutes on that particular point. Why? Number one.
So audience, just think about it, Fanta. Before you watch my call. So just think about it. I'm living here, or if a car registered in Arizona commits a crime in New York, so does that mean the state of Arizona participated in a crime? So let Fanta address that for us. So go ahead, Fanta.
So I'm not going to touch on the Arizona example, but what I will say is this, and I encourage the audience to look this up. Number one, Liberia Shipping Registry does not sit in Liberia. That, number one, is problematic. Number two, the reason why so many ships fly the Liberian flag is because Liberia maritime rules and regulations are laxed. Yes, they pay fees to Liberia, but they fly the Liberian flag because Liberia, they know they can get away with whatever they want to get away with. Who's the number one shipping registry? Is Panama. What was Panama known for? Illicit drugs. I mean, come on, like, can we wake up? Can we remove our goggles? You don't fly a ship, a country's flag if you know that country has strict laws. If you know that country does not have weak laws, you will only fly a country flag, and that's why most countries fly Liberia flag, because of Liberian laws. Now, you talk about complicity or enablers. Does it mean that the Liberian government is working with these people? Who do they pay taxes to? Who did they pay taxes to? Who made the decision? And look, maybe it's another conversation that we can get into. Perhaps it was made during colonial times, that a sovereign nation registry, maritime registry, sits in another country, in another sovereign country. Number one. Number two, that you don't understand the responsibility that comes with a ship flying your flag. So, like, when you see, and I hope you'll bring up the photo that I sent you. Or wait.
Oh no, I will bring it up again, Fanta. I really just wanted the audience to understand, for people who don't. But I get your point, because if multiple Liberian flagships appear in drug cases over many years, there could be several explanations that possible.
Can you
like, is it coincidence, or is it because Liberia has one of the world's largest registries, so the people are involved in all kind
I'll tell you this, it's not a good thing. It is not a good thing. It means that our laws are very lax.
Is lax.
Yeah, our laws are very lax. That's what it means. Our laws are very weak. That's what it means. I want you to share like this photo that just very quickly, because this is very, very important.
Which photo?
The one with the drug seizure by the custom border. Yeah, no, the other one, the one next to that.
This one.
This one. What does it say there? Does it say Colombian drugs? Does it say Venezuela flag ship?
Let me make it big. Hold on. Yeah, but go ahead.
No, but can you see the title there? Where it says more than 17 tons of cocaine seized from what? Liberian flagged container ship. Why it doesn't say Colombian ship, even though that was the origin? Why it doesn't say South American ship? Why it doesn't say American ship? Why does it say Liberian ship? Look, we have to understand, we have some level of accountability to the people who uses our names, to the people who uses our country to facilitate certain efforts or certain business efforts. When you come to, and is a lot more bigger than, say, just car registry. No. Our shipping registry does not even sit in Liberia. And that's why I asked the question, are we just a parish? Like, are we just like a little community in another sovereign country that runs Liberia? Or do Liberia runs Liberia? That's why this is problematic. So Liberia cannot divorce themselves from this, because it says your name. If this was a Priscilla ship, yeah, you sleeping in your comfortable, silly mattress bedroom. You wake up in the morning, there's FBI agents at your door.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
More than 17 tons of cocaine found in Priscilla ship, and you have no responsibility.
Yeah. So you see, the registry is large. So statistically, some criminal activities will involve Liberian flag vessel. That does not indicate Liberia itself. But traffickers may believe that certain, like you raised, that our registry receive less scrutiny than others. So in that case, criminals may deliberately register vessels under Liberia. But if it's true that, we keep coming up, then it raises concern about our registry oversight.
But I have a list of that. So one of the photos here that
but it still does not automatically prove government involvement.
No, look. What the reports are saying is that Liberian officials are complicit. Liberian officials are corrupt. This is the UN report. This is the US Security Department report. It says it in their report. So whether we want to say, okay, this cocaine, like there was a Liberia custom official involved or not involved, it's a known fact based on several research and reports that have been conducted and published by our international partners. They said this. I didn't say this. So Liberia cannot divorce itself from this responsibility. And that's why we have to have this conversation very honestly. I also share, and you have right there, I think it's the next image. It says the ships with like that flying Liberian flags that have been caught in cocaine bust. You can click that as well and bring it to the screen. Yeah, there might be thousands of ships that fly Liberian flags. But after 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, and in large quantities, is it time that we start paying attention to the next photo? We start paying attention to maybe thinking about how we register like ships. This one.
Okay.
Great. So you have a list here. Again, thousands of ships fly Liberian flags. These have been documented to be engaged in consistent or to be engaged in bust, in illicit drug trafficking. From 2018 here, you have an unnamed vessel flying the Liberian flag, caught in a cocaine bust, 1,500 pounds of cocaine, right? MSC Guyane, caught in 17 tons, 35,000 pounds of cocaine. Look, no matter how you want to pin this, you want to go up, you want to come down, you want to like associate blame, not associate blame, it's up to you. The data is the data. Take from the data what you will. Say Liberia does not have a drug problem. Our maritime laws are fine. It is okay by me. I'm sharing the data. From my perspective, we need to start paying attention to these things so we are not falsely implicated, or our reputation, if we care about that as a nation, is not smeared by illicit activities. If we want to divorce responsibility, it's up to us. Fine, let's do that. But if we can go back to the list, but this is just to show you that I also went and looked at all the ships that have been busted flying Liberian flags for cocaine and illicit drugs. And here they are. So the public can take from it what they may. Completely up to them. If we can go back to the list here with the yellow tag. Yeah, the one with the yellow tag.
Okay. Before this is the one with the yellow tag. So yeah, let me just join you to say, like you said, let's ask ourselves. The last thing you said, I was looking for myself and I forgot. You said something. Let the audience do something. Something you just said.
Yeah, I'm here to provide the information. Let the audience take from it what they may decide.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to. Yeah, that's why I want to piggyback on. So when a Liberian flag vessel is caught carrying drugs, people, should we interpret it as evidence against Liberia itself, or should we understand it as evidence that criminals may be exploiting one of the world's largest shipping registry? So let's interpret it ourselves, like Fanta said. But over and over, Liberia, what does that mean? Is our people not doing the right thing? Registry official, are they helping criminal networks? Is maritime authorities accepting bribes? Fanta just quoted is it the New York State Department and said this is what they said about the situation. So again, we're going to share. I just not being able to open the fast Fanta share, but
yeah, and I'm really sorry about that.
We will be able to share all of those things under this video after our conversation. Thank you, Fanta. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, if we can, yeah. So we have this back up there. 1 second. I wanted to pull up another file here, but let me continue here. Yeah.
So I put up this one.
And of this list, I think there's just one this bust on here, this 17 ton, $1.3 billion bust on here that was a Liberia a ship, and then you have the October of 2022. October of 2022, you had 520 kilograms of pure raw cocaine, right? Worth over okay. Can we Maybe remove the comment. Okay. Yeah, it's completely a flag of convenience to do a lot of convenient stuff. So, and we have an aggregate here. October of 2022 and February of 2023, 520 plus kilograms of pure raw cocaine came into Liberia, worth over $140 million. If you all can remember, it is not that far away. It's just like 2-3 years ago. Yeah, this was the if you can remember the storage drugs that was caught with the Lebanese man, right? This came through a storage facility called Sonnet Cold Storage Facility. The owner of that facility, or the owner of the company, is called TRH Holdings. Again, this was the Topo Village bust that happened on the Japanese freeway, right? Coming through the seaport. They said it was hidden inside industrial frozen fish shipping containers belonging to TRH. TRH is the company. The origin of these drugs were Brazil, okay, Port of Santos. The destination was for the West and Europe. Now, there were 4 people that were arrested or caught, whatever you want to call it, in that bust. One was a Guinea-Bissaoan. The other was, or 2 were Guinea-Bissauan, Malam Conte, Adulai Jibril, Jallo, Maki Ahmed Issam, which is a Lebanese, and Oliver Zizé, which is a Liberian. Okay, this was a bust that was headed by the U.S. Maritime Satellite Agency, or intelligence agency. And in terms of local enablers, there was massive controversy over local corporate entities, and the 2023 Liberian jury, right? At the end of all of this, the jury, they apparently arrested them, went to the justice system. The jury found them not to be guilty. I hope you're listening to this. Like, we're not living on a rock. This came in over $140 million. Everybody saw it, kolo. 4 people arrested. They went to court. I have that photo for you as well, Priscilla. I really want you to share this. It's in your bag. They went to court. And what did the jury say? The people are not guilty. You're released then. Okay? What happened? Priscilla is the one that is labeled smuggler. Thank you. They escaped. They escaped. How? How? From where to where? And we say there are no enablers. There are no enablers. The justice system, we're blaming the government blaming the justice system. How can 4 people get lost in a tiny Liberia if there are no enablers? Who you're fooling? Who are we fooling? Who want to get all agitated about $19 million drug? You're not been paying attention? Liberia has a drug problem. Liberia is a narco state. Take from it what you may. It's up to you. How did these 4 people escape? Where did they exit it? Nobody helped them. It's up to you. You'll be the judge. We can go back to my timeline. Please, my Priscilla. Like, these people just like this was reported internationally. They escaped. Jeddah.
Okay, Fanta.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to governance, please. I still need you to touch on this, and we're going 1 hour. Former president, was it former president Ellen Johnson Sirleaf that you were quoting, who won about drug money entering politics? Or I think I heard you when I was watching your broadcast. I think I heard you mention the current president. But how serious is? No, he said, I think during the past president time, he said he's used the term that you use in a narco state. When I watch your broadcast, that's what I heard you say. How serious is that warning today? Like, can democratic institutions survive when illicit money enters politics campaign? And then what sectors are most vulnerable? Is it politics? Is it security? Is it judiciary? Is it custom? Is it immigration? You know, how does this whole illicit drug money undermine our governance system?
Yeah. The simple answer is yes. and I believe it was during her first term. Ellen did mention
Okay,
this.
you said that. Okay.
Yes, she did mention this, and feel free to look it up. She did mention this that
Okay.
she expressed a concern of illicit drug money influencing our politics.
And
She mentioned,
undermining our governance. So
yes,
what at what
yes.
point does corruption become state capture? Like how does this money undermine our governance system now?
Well, I mean, we can just discuss it in the most simplistic term, right?
Mm,
If you have a cartel funding a politician to ascend to
mm,
office, that politician ascends to office
mm,
with the pretense that they're
mm.
there to serve the people, but the
Yeah.
cartel just spent millions of dollars to get this politician, whether it's to the presidency or to the House of Legislator or to the Senate or to the wherever. That
Mm.
cartel, that network influence the position of now a decision maker. That's a state capture, right? Because that person
Oh
is
my
making
God.
that person is making decision for the state. So
Yeah.
whatever decision that person makes, it's not going to be for the state. It's going to be for
Mm.
the cartel or the network that has influenced them to ascend them to that position. This is not,
It sounds
no,
so scary. It's
yeah,
fantastic.
and
Like you
sometimes we,
describing even our national security, Liberia national security system, because if drug trafficking network threaten I mean, capture a state like that, that could mean that they influence. Uh, um, I mean, they set up or eventually set up a rival state authority. Then what will happen to citizens? How
yeah,
can a country remain politically stable if criminal networks become wealthier than the state institutions? So the
yeah.
whole drug thing, it really sounds like it permeated or it permeating all of our Liberia spheres of influence.
Well,
Is
yeah,
it really that
absolutely.
scary? Or
Yeah,
maybe
yes,
from
yes.
afar we exaggerating, or is
No,
it really
no,
that scary?
no. It's not, it's not an exaggeration. So if you want to put up the one that says Boyka calls Liberia a narco state image, it's not an exaggeration, right?
Is it the one, this one, the French something?
No, I mean this is just like wait.
Is it?
Don't wait. You
No?
can go back like to that one
Okay.
again. Yeah, this one.
Okay,
For those
fine.
who for we continue to ask the question, right? Because these are the evidence. This is reported again in 2011. Liberia, a long way from winning the war on drugs. This was a French bust. This was busted by the French Navy. Tons and tons of cocaine, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are this is what I came across in my research. So for those who wants to pull back and say maybe we're not there, okay, that is completely fine. But it takes coordinators in the inside, in the security apparatus, as we just saw recently. An immigration person was arrested trying to bring illicit drugs into the border, right? We have mentioned customs people being complicit. We mentioned that there had to be people at the airport, people at the seaport, people in the security apparatus, people in the justice system, people in the executive, people in the executive to allow these type of orchestrated activities to permeate. We're talking more than 20 years, and all the evidence are here. This is not Fanta Kamara report. This is U.S. State Department, UN report, right? BBC, The Guardian. I mean, the list goes on. Take from it what you may. But I want you to, there's another photo, if we can go through it, called Boyka Calls Liberia.
Mm,
It
I
says,
guess. Yeah.
yeah. So not too long ago, so Ellen made that mention or that suggestion that there is a trend or an indicator that illicit money or drugs money are influencing our politics. Few years later, when Burka was her VP at the time, and we just went over the list of all the busts that happened like during that time. Few years later, Burka is running for office. George Weah is president. He then makes this statement. Joseph Burka described Liberia as a narco state under Weah government. When was this? This was June of 2023. Do you see? Do you see the irony here? Fast forward to 2026. How many busts has there been during the Burka government? How many bust? In fact, the LDA, like the Liberia Drug Agency, it's wild, right? Like he's
Man,
like,
that's what receipt you came with for.
he's like public information. Everybody listening, we are government at Narco State. Like we are government at Narco State. And then his government now. Like we have all these busts with rumors swirling that members of his family are allegedly involved. So when you talk about how deep is this, how entrenched is it? Legislative is involved. There was a report not too long ago of a LDA officer stopping a lawmaker vehicle and uncovering his vehicle was full of drugs. An LDA, Liberia DA, stopping a lawmaker, I believe on the Somalia highway, uncovering his vehicle was full of drugs. They invited her to the house, and she fainted due to intimidation. So, evidence that legislative is involved, executive is involved, customs is involved, immigration is involved. I mean, how can we turn a blind eye to this? How can we turn a blind eye to this? Ellen suggested it, that we're a narco state. Bweka out right here calling we are government a narco state. Now his government a narco state. Liberia has been a narco state. Take from it what you may. There's another photo here. Or we can just get back to the timeline, like so I can finish it up. But in terms of governance, it is entrenched. It's entrenched. So all the people who quote unquote call themselves opposition, they're all part of it. They're working only government. Then they're working we are government. Now some of that, this one. You know, all the people who call themselves opposition, they're all part of it. They work for Ellen. They work for we are government. Some of them working for Bweka government. And yet they're pretending like they don't know that Liberia has been a trafficking point for illicit drug for over 20 years. It's appalling. It is disgusting. And it is deceitful on their part. They're constantly deceiving the Liberian people and will no longer sit for it. Shame on you. We see through your lies. Stop pretending. You're not fooling anyone. You're not fooling anyone with your fake and selective outrage. Why weren't you outraged when the $500 million bust happened? You were outraged about $19 million when you have 2 million plus Liberians hooked on drugs. Of 5 million people, 2 million are hooked on drugs. Now you're angry because it's your children. 1 in 5 Liberian, in fact, 2 in 5 Liberian use drugs and abuse drugs. Can you think about that? This is serious. Take from it what you may. I'll continue. Okay.
Okay.
April of 2023, 885 kilograms of cocaine, over $100 million worth. This was to the seaport in containers, came from South America, making its way to Europe and the US. Okay, the individuals were identified as Brazilians. Okay, Brazilians. This was an effort by the US DEA and the British. This was under Joseph Bweka. His first big bust. That probably most people did not even hear about this because I couldn't find it in the local papers. Okay, this is, and I will show you exactly because this is important. Like yes, I have all the receipts. I absolutely do. Yes, I do. Yes. So Priscilla, I just added a photo. If you can share that photo, I'm sure most people had never heard of this bus. Nearly 1,000 kilograms. Yeah, this one. Okay. Yes, this one. April 11, 2023. The French amphibious helicopter carrier Mistral seized 885 kilograms of cocaine on a fishing vessel off the coast of Liberia. The French Navy, working together with the anti-drug office of OFAST, managed to secure another important cocaine seizure in an area that has been particularly problematic in recent years. Particularly problematic. Is Liberia a narco state? It's up to you. Go make your decision for yourself. The large-scale operation was carried out on the basis of intelligence provided by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency, in cooperation with the British National Crime Agency and the Brazilian authority. Okay, take from it what you may. You make your decision, or turn a blind eye and pretend like you don't see it. But don't hear my ear about your $19 million, please, because our children have been suffering. The youth of Liberia have suffered for too long. For you to be a fake pretender, a fake pastor, a fake imam, a fake advocate, save it for somebody else.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
question.
Thank you. Oh my God, Fanta, you came with receipts. So, woo. All right.
2 in 5 Liberian
That is a lot to process.
2 in 5 Liberians are abusing drugs, even high school students. 2 million people. You culture of 5 million people. 2 million people using drugs, Priscilla. And they fool people, just act as we said, they're innocent. All of them hand dirty. Everybody hand inside. All of them.
Let's go to Guinea-Bissau, comparing Liberia to Guinea-Bissau. So Guinea-Bissau, I think I heard you mentioned, you the one I heard Guinea-Bissau from, right, when I watched. Yeah, okay. On the same subject, Guinea-Bissau is often, so I started to look into it, and Guinea-Bissau is often described as Africa's first narco state. Why? And then what similarities now do you see between Guinea-Bissau and Liberia? But first tell us, why is it described as a narco state? What are the similarities now with Liberia? What differences still exist? So that at least we can get hope. But yeah, tell us why it is.
I mean, that's
and then what similarities, what differences still exist, and yeah, are there warning signs that we should pay attention to so that we don't become them, or are we them already? Tell us why is Guinea-Bissau,
Priscilla, I know you're desperately looking for some type of hope. I'm telling you, I'm trying. All right, let's put it this way. Why Guinea-Bissau is so similar to Liberia? Guinea-Bissau and Liberia are similar in sizes. Oh, they can insult me I'm the one insulting.
No, it wasn't you. It was me. Somebody, some people. I mean, they just not trained to be respectful.
Yeah,
someone was insulting me, so this person is
insult back to them.
Stop insulting.
You give it to me, I'll get back to you. Insult back to them.
No, yeah, I put him there first so that people will see if that's a grown man, why he would come on the internet and be insulting strangers. But this person was decent enough to say stop doing that.
Yeah, no, good on Kennedy.
Thank you, Kennedy.
Yeah, good on Kennedy for that. So look, what are the similarities between Liberia and Guinea-Bissau? Both Liberia and Guinea-Bissau have experienced political vacuums, right? Liberia had its war. Guinea-Bissau has been has had its own share of conflicts over the years. And so when you talk about stability, both countries share that sense of instability. You also talk about porous borders or weak borders, weak infrastructures. Both share the same. We talked earlier about what attracts cartels or a network to want to use a country as a transit point is because the infrastructure, the security infrastructure, the probability to bribe people on the inside is very likely. So they find it easier to navigate those countries, and so they take advantage of those weak systems. They take advantage of the weak borders. And so Guinea-Bissau and Liberia shares that. Also, something that's very important is complicity. Guinea-Bissau and Liberia have a very high level of corruption. Again, individuals who are willing to be bribed to sell the country, to sell their liver, both of them. So another indicator, and this is These are all, again, reports that you can look up. I mean, scholarly reports, security reports, UN reports that have been conducted. You have both country are extensively on the Atlantic, so they have Atlantic coastline. Guinea-Bissau, it's interesting because they are set up like they have the archipelago. So it's like these sections of small islands, right? If you look up the images of Guinea-Bissau, not only is it on the Atlantic, but it also has these small islands that makes it really easy for traffickers to go and like say to transit, right? Like they will often take their boats, offload, and because of the weak security apparatus, the weak immigration system, the weak maritime system, it's very difficult to cover all of those borders, right? Often short of manpower, whatever like you want to call it, not serious attention being given to security. So they take advantage of that. Liberia is the same way. Liberia also sits on the Atlantic, I believe almost 500 kilometers of ocean. You, in that documentary that I mentioned, you hear General Butt saying that he will go to the ocean and meet the Mexican cartels, like they came into Liberia, right? So he will go to meet them. So evidence that it's very accessible. Liberia maritime, I believe I heard the last time, only has like one tugboat, right? So how do you patrol such a large water space or water area, maritime space area, whatever you want to call it, with inadequate resources? And to say that, for those who are going to say, oh, Liberia is so poor, Liberia doesn't have money, with all the money, with all the gold and resources that Liberia has, you have companies like B Mountain extracting $3 billion every year from Liberia, and yet Liberia cannot find a way to raise enough money to boost its security sector. It is because you have people in the government who are complicit. You have the president flying B Mountain helicopter. You talk about, are they compromised? How is the president going to say to B Mountain, hey, you have to actually give a huge portion, a huge royalty, 30%, 40%, 50% of the 3 billion that you generate every year? One company, 3 billion every year from Liberia ground, Liberia soil. How is he going to say that to them? How is he going to influence them to actually pay their fair share, upwards 50%, like Botswana, Buko is doing in Botswana with De Beers, demanding 50% of the diamonds that they mine, right? While Liberia still has like 3%, 5% royalty. And then on top of that, they compromise themselves by utilizing the resources from these companies. As we've seen, Bwaka frequently flies B Mountain private jet, B Mountain helicopter. So what type of mandate? And we know that members of the legislative, for those who are going to say, oh, Bwaka doesn't make the laws, I agree with you. But members of the legislative who are also in B Mountain's pocket, right? They take bribes from B Mountain. How are they going to you talk about state capture? How are they going to put laws on books or ensure that those concessionaires and concession NDAs are structured that bulk of the royalty goes to Liberia? When they're giving them 90,000 bribe, they're giving them 100,000 bribe, they're giving 150,000 bribe to sell it for 3% royalty. What kind of laws do we expect them to make? So that's how easy it is to intercept or to engage lawmakers or to engage members of the executive branch or to engage the security apparatus. Because once again, when it comes to corruption, we are hopejos of corruption. We will sell ourselves for 1 penny. So when you talk about it being easy to infiltrate and all of that, Liberia is ripe for that. The evidence are all there. You only have to open your eyes, and those are some of the similarities between Liberia and Guinea-Bissau. Guinea-Bissau today, they've had a couple of coups where it's gotten, maybe that's the small chance that Liberia have. I haven't seen outright.
What is that? The small chance?
Yeah, the hairline, right? The hairline that is left for Liberia. I haven't seen where you have cartel literally running like the country, like orchestrating coups. You have confirmed military members working for the cartels, transiting, trafficking drugs for the cartels. We haven't seen that bluntly in Liberia. I'm not saying it's not happening, but maybe that's the small trend that is like we haven't seen all out cartel wars as we see in Guinea-Bissau, right? So maybe that's the little chance that Liberia has to just course correct. But how can we do that when everything else we are corrupt in?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, God forbid that bad thing. I don't know. I can still hope. So at least that's
And one more thing, extreme poverty, right? Like, and there is no need for Liberia to be poor, but Liberia is poor. Like how? You can find people, even our older population goes to bed hungry every night. Most of them do, hungry every night. We don't even have systems or social welfares for our elderly, for our young people. They have to sell themselves. Do you know how many children have to hawk? That plastic here, plastic here. Before they can put food on their parents' table? Should children be assuming the role of breadwinners in the home? Should they? What options do you leave them when you sit there as lawmakers, as legislative, can't even do anything decent to impact their lives? A country of 5 million people with billions and trillions of dollars in reserves in terms of iron ore deposits, uranium, neodymium, cobalt, gold, diamonds. No, it's easier for them to take that brown envelope and put it in their pocket than to go and build schools and hospitals and create social welfare systems and infrastructure for the people. So you ask me how easy it is for the cartel to infiltrate such a people with a poor mindset, such leaders with poor mindset, such leaders with poverty mindsets? Their mindsets are poverty stricken. Most of the people come to power very dirt poor. They've never seen money. They haven't even traveled outside of the country. Most of them who sit in the legislative have not even traveled outside the country before they become legislators.
So
the first 100,000 they see, they jump. So it's easy. And this is how Liberia is so similar to Guinea-Bissau because of just the level of growth, corruption, poverty, weak security, extensive border, and nobody minding it.
So Fanta, what immediate steps should Liberia take? So it does the country need stronger laws, stronger enforcement, or stronger institutions? Or maybe we should take it to the regional, our regional members. What role, if so, what role? Because it sounds like, like when we have crisis in our country, when we have war, sometimes it can be necessary to call in people. And with the drug issue, I learned that that's not justification for Liberia to have this issue. But I'm just saying I've heard that it's not Liberia alone, Sierra Leone, Ghana, and Nigeria. It just in the region right now. So what role should regional cooperation play? And also, but before we go outside, what responsibility do citizens have? So this is the last set of questions for all of us.
Yeah.
And it's not Fanta alone. People are making comments. But since you are in a studio, what responsibility should citizens have? What responsibility does the political class have? Then what role should regional cooperation play? So maybe start with us as citizens. What immediate steps?
Look, rediscover your love for Liberia.
Okay.
Like, fall back in love with Liberia. Because we are deceitful people, we are liars. We are not truthful people. And so when I say we're easily swayed by the wind, we're easily manipulated, we've adopted such a partisan political culture, individualistic culture that has not served us. Oh, Abaka man. Oh, are we a man? Oh, are Ellen man? Or Ellen woman? Are you Liberia man? Are you Liberia woman? Are you Liberia youth? Or your identity is tied to a political entity when your identity should be tied to the nation? It doesn't say CDC on your passport. It doesn't say Unity Party on your passport. It doesn't say XYZ on your passport. It says Liberia. Your lineage, your obligation, your dedication, your priority should be Liberia first. Liberia first and Liberia always. If it does not serve Liberia, don't partake in that discourse because it does not serve you. It does not serve you. It does not serve your people. It does not serve your children. It does not serve your socioeconomic status. A population of 5 million, where 70+% are experiencing unemployment. What does that say? We, the people, too, have a responsibility in this because it only is us who can hold our leaders accountable. But how do we hold them accountable when we have not arrived at the fact, the justification for which we should be holding them accountable? Can we say in ourselves formidably that we love Liberia to a point where we will not compromise our love for her, we will not compromise her welfare for the sake of our party, for the sake of the individual?
Party politics, partisan politics.
It has eroded the very moral emblems that we should always uphold as a people, which is truth and nation. We have become more tribalistic and less of citizens. What does that make us of a people? We too are responsible. So you ask, what is our responsibility? Fall back in love with Liberia. Because when you speak, and you're speaking not because you're affiliated with a party this or party that, you're speaking on behalf of Liberia. Your motivation is deep within your heart. It is in your bellow. You feel it. The courage that you feel when you say, I speak for Liberia, I am not bought. The inspiration, the motivation that you get is priceless. It's not worth any cup of rice. It's not worth any t-shirt. It's not worth any $1 bill. It's not worth any $2 bill. Because you're going to eat that cup of rice and you're going to poop it out. You're going to take that $1 and buy something with it, and then it's gone. Where is your lineage? Where is your loyalty? We are not patriotic enough. Let's be nationalistic again. Then we can stand and say, let's hold our leaders accountable. So that will be the first thing we have to do. We can't go to, let's hold them accountable. How do you hold them accountable? Hold yourself accountable first. Look yourself in the mirror and say, do I love Liberia? If I do, okay, then I'm marching to the Capitol building. Let it do what I want to do. I'm marching to the Capitol building because of Liberia. And I'm marching there because I get called from some opposition or for someone in the government to say, go and go march. Nobody controls me. You are obligated to God first and foremost. Second is nation. We should be reminded by that. We are not. Because we're not truthful. We're greedy. And greed has always been the downfall of man. In any era, any empire, they fall because of greed. So, wake up from the slumber and fall back in love with Liberia. That's the best thing that you can do. You will find your answers after that. As a state, we need to start putting resources and infrastructures in place to combat the rise, the continuous rise. You saw it in those international articles, the continuous rise of illicit activities in our country. Look, Africa loses about $100 billion like every year to illicit financial activities, and probably even more than that. Liberia loses $1 billion every year. That's not even including the drugs. Why would we compromise 2 million of our people? Do you know what 2 million of 5 million is? Y'all do the math. I suck at math. I'm an analyst. But y'all do the math. You sacrifice 2 million of your people? We're in 2026. You have seen bust 500+ million, bust nearly like $1 billion. We're crying about 19 million in 2026. And just to add, this 19 million drug bust is not the only one. It's just the one that was caught. More than that, more than 500 kilograms of drugs are still in this country. Some have already left, but some are still here. The one that made it to the airport, the 200 something. How about we focus on actually ridding our entire system of drugs? Maybe it's impossible, some might say, but let's try. Stop being such corrupt hopo Joes. Like, come on, Liberia is too beautiful for that. You create a budget. You create a budget of 1.2 billion. Drug dealers come in like and bribe you, and you pay our civil servants $100. You put in the budget party money, celebration money, yeah, entertainment money, but you pay our police people $100, $150. How long do they use that for? 5 days, 10 days. The money finished. They have to go borrow. They are in perpetual debt. What do you expect him to do? He has to feed his family. He has to feed his family. I'm not saying he has to go commit a crime, but the probability of taking that bribe is very high. The probability of looking the other way is very high because we don't take care of our people. We hate our people. We hate ourselves, and we hate our country.
Okay. And then the other one was what role should regional cooperation play?
Yeah. So you have the Mana River Belt, right? All the countries on the Mana River Belt. You have Sierra Leone, Guinea, Liberia, XYZ, Ivory Coast. You find similar things happening in the region. Guinea is overridden with drugs and drug trafficking because they all sit on the Atlantic. You have Sierra Leone, where it has become a kush producer. And I went over it like the last time. They're making kush from chemicals used in paint. Can you imagine consuming chemicals that they make paint with? Kush, part of the formulation is formaldehyde that they steal from mortuaries. The debale. The medicine they use to embalm the debale.
When she put her
Liberia taking it.
What's up with laughing?
The medicine, the chemical they can use, that is it Saint Joseph or what a famous debale plenty.
Saint Moses.
Saint Moses. Hey, yeah, thank you, Priscilla.
What did Saint Moses do?
the chemical that Saint Moses can use to embalm the body there, that it is being mixed in the kush. It makes it super attractive coming out of the yeah. You have fentanyl produced in Chinese labs. Who's paying attention to the foreign activities happening in our country? Are they producing fentanyl locally? We know that marijuana is being grown locally. Kush is coming from Sierra Leone. You have drugs coming in from Guinea. The Mana River Union needs to be more of a body that truly works collectively to rid the region of illicit activities, period. It might be wishful thinking, but there are efforts that can be made to reduce, to minimize the level of activities. It's going to take sacrifices by the very leaders in high position, immigration, customs, airport, seaport, to say no to bribes. Say no to bribes. As you read from the Guardian article, NSA director, former Salif, they were willing to pay him $1 million. That was 2009. Imagine what their offering them today 10 million, 15 million, 20 million. And NSA director might never see that money. Might never see that money from his regular job. Might never see it. A DEA, the DEA just released names of officers in the DEA who was involved. You talk about which systems are compromised. Even the DEA is compromised. So, like, we have to get serious about ridding our systems of these enablers, these bad actors. That's how we stand a chance. But it's going to take a leader who is morally upright. Who is morally upright and surround himself with people, him or herself, with people who maintains similar principle. Otherwise, we are just washing, rinsing, washing, rinsing. This cycle repeats. When I UP time the journey, when I see this time the journey, the same players. We've seen it. Different party kind of journey. It's a network. It's a system that has been orchestrated and will continue to orchestrate for many more years. If we don't have a leader that is serious about ridding Liberia,
okay,
listed activities that it has.
So, Fanta, let me ask you, if you were advising the president today, and you said, again, when I was listening to your broadcast, you said he was the one. I didn't hear that, but I don't think you make up stuff like that. So you say he was the one who said before the administration before his, he asked the question that you're now repeating. So if you were that,
he didn't ask the question. He made this statement. He said that our government is a narco state.
Oh, he said it. He said he made a statement.
Yeah, transnational.
Oh wow. So if you were advising him today, what would be your top 3 priorities?
Number 1, put Liberia first.
Okay, just like the ordinary person, like what you told us.
Look, we don't have to overcomplicate solutions, and often that's what we get into trouble.
You say in a previous broadcast before, we would take money and go have conferences outside the country.
Yeah, we are good for that.
The solution needs rocket science.
Yeah, like we're very good for that.
So it's not really that complicated.
No, it's not that complicated. It is very, look, it takes the will. It takes the will and the love for nation, the love for country. So I would say to him, every Liberian, fall back in love with Liberia. If you're making a decision, Mr. President, you should ask yourself one question. Does the outcome of this decision put Liberia first? If it does not,
that's how to ask. Okay.
Refrain. Simple. Just look. As a program executive, I was tasked with managing multi-million-dollar programs, very strategic, very, very strategic, enterprise-wide. And to be able to create an efficient team, efficient pipeline, end-to-end delivery system, I had to move my team away from convoluted PowerPoint, PDF documentation processes and reduce them to checklist. Guys, I don't need 100 pages. I will tell my project managers, like, we're not using that. Whatever process it is that you're struggling with, give it to me. I will deduce it into a checklist. That 100 book pages of process, 1 pager. Number 1, here's what we do. Number 2, and I found our level of efficiency and delivery increased significantly. So it's simple solutions for what? For problems that seem overly complex. Just ask yourself a simple question. This decision I'm making, does it put Liberia first? Is it going to be beneficial for Liberia? If I ride in Bee Mountain helicopter, when most Liberian or every Liberian are riding on their mother road, They roll for us so bomb and holes. How is it that me riding in Beer Mountain helicopter from the Northwest? What kind of optics is it going to give? Do I fully understand the problems of my people? Because I don't immerse myself in their experience. I'm not saying leaders should live like their people. What I'm saying is that immerse yourself in the experience of the everyday person. It helps to ground you. It helps. Look, the most successful CEOs, you know what they do? They don't spend all day in their fancy glass offices. They go around to their sites, to the different departments, and walk their departments. Half the time, most people don't even know what they look like. They make it a habit to blend themselves with their people, to understand from the ground up. So when you have a minister telling you, you can say, no, I was there just yesterday. He wouldn't even know. I was there just yesterday, and this is the actual case. No, let's do it this way. But you don't even have that insight or that knowledge. So surround yourself with people who are also Liberia first. We need to get back to that desperately. First and foremost. Second, remove yourself from associations that will result in you being further compromised. Or the people that influence you. Is it your sons? Is it your advisors who are bringing deals to you or telling you appoint that person or make deal with this other person without any diligence? It doesn't serve you. It does not serve Liberia. Are you surrounded by all yes men? You're never going to get anywhere with all yes men because they all have ulterior motives. They don't care about you. They don't care about the country. Look, as a leader, you don't have to be the most knowledgeable person. Surround yourself. Find the people who know and they have demonstrated that they know and also are principled, and delegate. Delegate. The people you surround yourself with are fake. They have jumped from one party to the next. So they are not principled. They don't stand for anything. They move with the wind.
Okay. So so the last part, someone said they don't want to miss an inch of it since we're going to 2 hours. If you what concerns you most about Liberia's future if current trend continues? You know, what gives you hope and then what concerns you? So that's my final two questions. When Liberians look back 10 years from now, what decisions made today will determine whether Liberia becomes a success story or a cautionary tale like Guinea-Bissau. Let's start with what concerns you, and then maybe we can close with what gives you hope. Because when you were answering a previous question, you said something that I said, "Oh, at least I have hope," and we laugh about it. Are you looking for a little thing? But I'm sure you have hope because you love your country. That's why you want this discussion to have the kind of visibility. You discussed that on your platform and you accepted our in that year. So I mean, I know you think there is hope somewhere, but let's start with what concerns you the most about Liberia's future if we continue on this path.
What what concerns me is that the level of infiltration that has happened amongst our people, that has found its way to what should be the generation of hope, is grave. You find youth, our generation, justifying corruption, justifying illicit acts of the generation that have filled us. And is because most of them rely on those leaders for their socioeconomic welfare. And they are beholding, they are hijacked by those kings or big people. They know that the youth are materially poor, and so they manipulate them to do their bidding. And it is something that um, they have become very successful at. A lot of youth will be the one. No, like man, Ariel, my man done it. I'm a brabby. I'm a brabby. They want to do something because they don't have the resources and they rely on that brabby for economic survival. They will be the one propagating those messages. They will be the one justifying. You try to speak on their behalf and they're fighting you. You're like, can't you see? Can't you see what I'm trying to do? Why aren't you standing right next to me in this advocacy? So our generation can be the ones who actually get to transform Liberia. They have been conditioned. And so that more than anything else breaks my heart. Because when you're psychologically gone, the impact takes years, sometimes generation, to undo. And they know that it works. Psychological conditioning. Militaries around the world uses it. They use the media. They use community organizations. They use NGOs to psychologically condition a people into accepting and adopting certain narratives. And unfortunately, most of our youth are compromised. Most of them. So the one generation that's supposed to give hope is also, yeah.
But I'm sure there is hope somewhere.
You still have a few of us who, no matter what, my risks, my blessings are from God. The food that sits on my table is from God. I would never, as long as I live, as long as I breathe, I would never bow down. I would never kowtow. I would never submit. I would never be a part of their system. It is rotten. It is deceitful. It is a deviant system who preys on the poor. It is a system of evil. It is a satanic system. They will sacrifice their mothers, their children. They will sacrifice your children. We see a lot of young children going missing. Whoever asks, where are they getting missing to? They're being used for ritualistic sacrifices. Do we ever ask that question? Do we ever inquire? Our society is becoming more and more evil. And there are still a few people who will stand up and say, you know what? We're all going to die one day anyways. We all bleed red. You think today you live in a mansion, tomorrow you're going to fall dead. Where are the pharaohs of the world today? Where are the King Kongs of the world today? They're all dead. They left back their mansions. No one had more money, more wealth than them. Where are they? We're doing all of this for greed and for material purposes. I'm not bought, will never be bought. My voice, my person, I will continue to lend to Liberia. That is my service to my people.
Thank you.
Advocating for the voiceless. And that is my hope, that more people will join us.
Thank you. Please tell us, where can we find you?
Oh,
If people want to
mhm.
follow you on your platforms, I know you
Yeah, go
can
ahead.
emo sorry.
No,
I was trying to take you off.
no, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay.
Where can we find you? I was trying to, so I have these YouTube. I don't know whether you have a title for it, but I have them up here. So tell us, where can we find you on Facebook, and then
Yeah.
what are your handles on YouTube?
Fanta Kamara Uncensored. My Facebook is FKMBA. That's my personal. And then Fanta Kamara Uncensored on YouTube, Instagram, on Facebook. We're building out our uncensored brand now, um, because so many people have tried to cancel me and I'm just uncancelable. So I'm just like going to build my own platform. And so you have the uncensored brand being built out. But yeah, we are on all the social platforms. So be sure to follow and share our message, because the more you share, the more people are enlightened and educated and are empowered. And that's what they're trying to prevent. They're trying to silence us and to censor us. And we can allow that to happen. So Fanta Kamara Uncensored, everywhere.
Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you, Fanta. So I have the links to her Facebook and her YouTube is there in the comments there. And the other documents that Fanta shared to my email, I'm going to later share the links because I couldn't just figure out how to open the folder. So I'll share the links so that you know the things she shares so that you can check them out for yourself. But let me just end with this to say, uh, what is a narco state? There is no universally accepted legal definition. Uh, but political scientists, security analysts, and other organizations like the UN Office on Drugs and Crime generally use the term to describe country where drug trafficking organizations exert significant influence over state institutions. Again, some of the evidence was shared, but I'm going to share the rest of them from our guests, and then also you're free to do your own research. So yeah, and when political leaders, military officials, police, judiciary, or government structures are systematically compromised by drug money, or when state institutions protect traffickers rather than persecute them, when drug proceeds become deeply integrated into the national economy and political system, when the state becomes dependent on or captured by criminal networks. So I want us to pay attention to this no distinction. But when it comes to countries that are transit, it doesn't mean they're automatically or narco state. Many countries serve as trafficking corridors without their governments being controlled by traffickers. And so it sounds like, from all indication, from what I'll get shared and from other again world body, international bodies, that Liberia serves as a logistical corridor for illicit goods, or transit country will be countries that serve as logistical corridor for illicit goods due to their geography, their ports, their borders. We have a porous border. Many times I went to like Ganta and I just walked to Guinea and bought roasted meat because the pieces thicker on that side than in Ganta itself. And then when I go to Alofa, I'll just, again, we all know, I mean, for some of us who worked in the rural parts, even go to Foya and then you'll be to Sierra Leone. Or I went to Cape Mount and then I'm standing across the river and there is this little river, it's Manon River. The town are in Cape Mount, and then my host just calling the lady across in Sierra Leone and say, I have a stranger. Please bring the meat when you come in and meat on the dryer. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, that is Sierra Leone. And I could see and in no time, she got on his little kino and pedal to us. So we're all just connected like that. But being a transit point is a matter of geography and infrastructure, which can exist even in countries with strong rule of law and low corruption. Do we have low corruption in Liberia? It is for you to, for you to figure out yourself. But a country becomes a narco state only when the traffickers gain enough power to subvert or capture the state's decision-making processes. So a transit country can be a transit country without being a narco state, provided its institutions remain independent, functional, and resistant to criminal infrastructure. Recently, the evidence that's supporting the concerns that we're discussing is that Liberia has faced persistent narcotic challenges for more than 2 decades, repeated and cocaine interceptions. We all know that. Um, 19 million at Rabo International Airport was intercepted, one of the largest cocaine seizure reported in Liberia history. So the case is what people talking about. Um, so yeah, so we know that Liberia faces a serious and growing narcotic problem. The country is clearly exposed to regional and transnational drug trafficking network, and the rise of coach present a major social and public health threat. With all these large seizures, corruption concern, and institutional vulnerability, um, it justifies this debate or this conversation. However, based on publicly available evidence, it is more accurate for me to describe Liberia as a country at risk of deeper criminal penetration than to definitively label it as a narco state. But the central question for me is not whether Liberia has already become a narco state, but whether its institutions are strong enough to prevent that outcome. If current trend continue for the next 10 years, what does Liberia look like in 2036? That's something for us to think about. Thank you so much for joining us on a new day. Thank you for being a change and for sharing your day with us. Thank you, Fanta, for your relentless advocacy and truth speaking. And you just gained an admirer in me in recent time that I started following your work.
Mhm.
And I appreciate your willingness to just come and have a conversation with us. So thank you, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Priscilla, for having me. Thank you.
And thanks to our viewers for joining us as well. Let's continue the dialogue, elevate our voices, and actively participate in shaping a world where social justice isn't an aspiration but a reality. Join us next time on a new day as we continue to explore and advocate for social reform. Remember, change begins with a conversation. Let's make every day a new day for progress. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in our next episode. It's a new day. It's a new day. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
My name is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people. Liberia.